Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. Today on the Dr. Spell Prognosis, we're talking about the spell Transmute Rock. I know that my thumbnail said Transmute Rock to Mud or Mud to Rock, but the spell does both of those things, so we just called it Transmute Rock to Mud because that's pretty much what you're going to be first using it for. So, but first, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have any questions or comments, please leave a question or a comment. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. So we are giving this spell a B+. It is a 5th level spell usable by druids, wizards, and artificers. Takes one action, and for artificers won't be using this till like 17th level, so it is what it is. 5th level spell takes one action, has a range of 120 feet, which is great. It is a 40-foot cube. I'm going to talk about something I'm a little confused about with this spell. It is a verbal, somatic, and material component, which we don't care about because it's worthless. And it lasts until dispelled. So you choose an area of stone or mud that you see that fits within a 40-foot cube. Remember, a 40-foot cube is a cube that is 40 feet on each side. So it is 40 feet long, 40 feet deep, and 40 feet high or thick. And is within range, and choose one of the following effects. So you can take some rock and you can transmute it to mud. So non-magical rock of any sort in the area becomes an equal volume of thick flowing mud that remains for the spell's duration. So remember, this is mud that is 40 feet deep if it is 40 feet of rock. So if you're on a mountain, which almost most definitely has 40 feet of rock, it's going to be 40 feet deep. The ground in the spell's area becomes muddy enough that creatures can sink into it. So if they can sink into it and it's 40 feet deep, won't they sink to the bottom? That's a question out there for YouTube land. So each foot that a creature moves through the mud costs 4 feet of movement. So it's not difficult terrain. So again, if you do create something that causes difficult terrain, you can stack it on top of this. And this is not a concentration spell. So you can stack that stuff pretty easily. So in any creature on the ground, when you cast a spell, must make a strength saving throw. A creature must make the saving throw when it moves into the area for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there. On a failed save, the creature sinks into the mud and is restrained, though it can use an action to end the restraint condition by pulling itself free of the mud. So it's not quicksand per se. I really wish that they would define this a little bit better, that it's mud that you're not going to sink all the way in. It's mud that's thick enough, because it is 40 feet deep, but it is mud that is thick enough that you don't sink all the way. But, with physics and everything else, I would say that somebody that fell into a pit that was 40 feet deep of flowing mud is probably going to sink to the bottom. Not fast, but they're going to sink to the bottom. So if you cast the spell on a ceiling, the mud falls. Any creature under the mud when it falls must make a dexterity saving throw. A creature takes 48 bludgeoning damage on a failed save and half as much damage on a successful one. So I think the people that wrote this, and this came from the Elemental Evil Player's Companion, so this is pretty early in D&D. The main thing is you're going to get this restrained condition. They do have this one here. Now, what if something's on a hill, like a rocky hill, and you cast this? It is flowing mud, so will it cause a rock slide or an avalanche? That's a thing. If you were to cast this spell, say, halfway up a mountain and destabilize, the rocky slope of a mountain, I would say, knowing what I know about geology and physics, that the top of that mountain is going to come down, and so is the mud, and it's going to cause a massive, massive rock slide. So think about that if you are a player, and talk to your DM about how that might work. So transmute mud to rock Non-magical mud. Now, I argue that the mud that you make from rock is magical because it will end if the spell is dispelled. So you can't voluntarily end this spell, but it can be dispelled, meaning that it'll go back to being what it was non-magically. So I would say that you can transmute rock to mud, but you can't transmute that mud back to rock with the opposite of the spell. Now, you can dispel your own spell with a dispel. That you can do with a dispel magic and get rid of it. So that, that would kind of alleviate that. So you take non-magical mud or quicksand in the area, no more than 10 feet deep, transform it into stone. So that doesn't make any sense either. This is a 40-foot cube. But now this is saying it's not a 40-foot cube. It's a 40-foot wide, 40-foot long, 10 feet deep cube. That's not a 40-foot cube. That's a polygon that's 40 feet long, 40 feet high, and 10 feet deep. So no more than 10 feet deep transforms into soft stone for the spell's duration. What is soft stone? I think they need to define that too. Any creature, like sandstone is soft stone. Any creature in the mud when it transforms must make a dexterity saving throw. On a successful save, the creature is shunted safely to the surface in an unoccupied space. On a failed save, the creature becomes restrained by the rock, soft rock. A restrained creature or another creature within reach can use an action to try and break them out with a strength check. And the rock has an AC and hit points, and it's immune to poison and psychic damage, obviously. So, and it's, now you've taken non-magical mud and turned it into, I argue, magical rock, because if you were to dispel that, put a dispel on that rock, then it turns back into mud because it's magical rock. If you were to just cast dispel magic on a normal non-magical rock, it does nothing. So I don't think you can go back and forth with these spells. So let's talk about the Artificer. I don't really want to talk about them. They're not getting this till 17th level. There's really the Druid, I don't think, it fits with the Druid's kit, but I don't think that there's anything the Druid has to really mitigate saving throws for this. The Wizard definitely does. It is transmutation. Transmutation doesn't really, it's more with the polymorph spell. So, it doesn't really have anything to do with this spell. However, divination does because of portent. And so you can give out a low roll on portent to make somebody fail this saving throw and be restrained. Or fail this dex saving throw and take a bunch of damage. So there is that. So not much more to talk about this spell. You really have to be careful with this spell because it is such a big, wide area. 40-foot cube is a big. It's 20-foot radius. It's a big thing. You really, you want to be mindful of your allies that are hand-to-hand combat types who need to be adjacent because they may not be able to get to enemies if they're stuck in the middle of the mud. But strategically, you can place enemies in this if you want to separate them from the rest of a group so that you can concentrate on certain enemies and not these. So it is a good kind of crowd control, battlefield control spell. All right, that's what I got for everybody today. I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I will catch everybody later.